7 years ago, I took a huge gamble on myself and I decided to leave my job to pursue my dream of becoming a full-time photographer. Over the years, I made many mistakes, but now that I'm on the other side, I see them as lessons learned. So here I am, sharing those lessons with everyone. Whether you're a hobbyist or a full-timer, there is always room to grow, and there is nothing wrong with making mistakes, only with not learning anything from them. My name is Regina, and this is the Probably Editing Podcast. What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Probably Editing Podcast. Man, I am so sorry that I did not post the episode last week. I am just knee deep in senior portrait season and I got a little behind. It's just me, and on top of my editing and my calls and the shoots and everything, as hard as I tried to sit down and record a podcast, what I recorded, it just felt like I was just making something. It wasn't really coming like from within. And so I was like, you know what? I'm not going to force it. It's just going to be an off week. And then we'll come back next week, which is today. And today I actually have something that I think is going to, maybe ruffle a couple of feathers. And that's okay, because open discussion and conversation is the best way to get the best ideas, right? So, okay, this podcast episode is going to be about when it might be appropriate. Is it ever appropriate to ever do a discounted or even free photo shoot? Is that something that we should just be buckle down on and be like, absolutely not. We are creators. This is our craft. We need to value our work. And I will never, ever, ever offer a free photo shoot. And I don't think any photographer ever should. Or are you more like me, who thinks that there are certain circumstances where offering a discount or even a free photo shoot is something that you can use to your advantage? So I'm going to explain my belief on it, the circumstances I think that those two things would be beneficial for, a discount or a free photo shoot, and just give you the examples that I have had with those circumstances in my own personal life. In the beginning, when you have zero clients, when you need to practice, not just shooting, but also guiding clients, directing them through the poses, coming up with location ideas, every single aspect that comes with shooting, the editing and everything, when you need practice in any way, or when you need to explore genres and expand your portfolio, I think those are the best circumstances to do free photo shoots. In the absolute very beginning of your photography career, I think that is a wise thing to do. So for me, whenever I decided, hey, I want to pick up my camera again and maybe see if this can become some sort of side business for me, at that point, I had put my camera down for about 3, almost 4 years. And in that time, I had not done any sort of shooting. I completely forgot how to guide clients through poses. I didn't know what genres I would want to do. I really hadn't in any way whatsoever discovered my editing style, because how could I if I hadn't been shooting in so many years? And I had no one reaching out to me. No one knew who I was. Nobody knew anything about my photography. So in the very beginning, like me, I think it's recommended that you offer free photo shoots. But there's a way to do this. There's a smart way to go about this so that you don't just put yourself out there for freeloaders to get and take advantage of you, because that can happen if you don't do this in a smart way. What you do not want to do is go on social media, go on some sort of free Facebook kind of group or something like that. You don't want to go on there and just say, hey, I'm offering free photo shoots to anyone who needs them. Reach out to me and we'll make something work. If you do that, you're going to get every sort of category under the sun. You're going to get total freeloaders who just don't want to pay because they don't value photography in any sense of the way. You're going to get bombarded from people who just want free photo shoots. And you don't want to do that. You want to be smart about it. And so what you want to do is, let's say you are just try to discover what your genre is going to be for when you have your photography business. Try to narrow it down to a couple of genres. So for me, back in that day, that was maternity, that was family, engagements, and then senior portraits was actually last. Okay. So those were really the 4 genres that I was interested in. I didn't have any experience with them, but what I did was I went onto Facebook groups specifically where I thought I would find those kinds of people. And I would go on there and say, hey, I am wanting to expand my senior portrait portfolio, or I'm wanting to expand my portfolio for maternity photos or my portfolio for family portraits. And I'm looking for a couple of people who would want to do that type of session. In exchange, and here's where you can really take advantage of doing a free photo shoot. In exchange, I asked for reviews or testimonials, okay? And they, of course, would receive free photos from me. So what I would do is I would, have people reach out for that specific genre. So now you're getting rid of people who are just like, oh, I want, this or that. Maybe they weren't even wanting photo shoots, but because you're offering a free photo shoot, they're like thinking of a way to get that from you. Don't do that. Look for people who are already maybe thinking of looking for a photographer and offer your services to them, but ask for reviews in exchange. Ask them to leave you a Google review. It has to be like, that's part of the payment, okay? Maybe you're not getting a financial payment because it's a free photo shoot, but you're getting something to your benefit. You're building rapport. You're building a reputation. You're giving other people the opportunity to hear from others what it was like to work with you. And you can only get that if you work with other people. And so you need to get those reviews. So whenever you offer a free photo shoot, don't look at it as you not valuing your own worth, of, degrading your value and stuff like that. Look at it as an opportunity when you're in those early stages to get your foot in the door and get reviews in exchange, get that report so that you look more reputable to other people and that you can start growing your business. Now, something that I did, and this might be like super duper old school, but I actually would ask people for video testimonials. It would literally be them just talking to the camera about what their experience was like working with me. And I know that can seem a little like off-putting to ask for, but I ended up having about 15 or so different people's testimonials, and then I would link all those videos on my website. And as I was growing my business, and this is when my website was like a free Squarespace account where it was like reginablancasphotography.com/Squarespace or something like that. You would look through my website, and when in the contact area, I would have my testimonial videos at the bottom, and I had several people reach out to me and be like, hey, I looked at some of those testimonials and I really want to work with you because of them. So while you might not be getting a financial payment when you offer a free photo shoot in the beginning, you're getting something that you would never be able to get, which is, experience, the practice, the reviews, being able to explore genres and stuff like that. Because think about it. If you're starting your business, if you're new, if you don't know what you want to do, if you haven't practiced, if you don't know what you're doing really, like confidently, if you charge someone and they're not happy with it, people are so much more inclined to leave you a negative review rather than a positive one. I mean, just think about it. How many times do you personally actually leave a positive review, even if you had a great experience? And we don't do it because we don't want to. We just do it because we forget or something. But I guarantee you that if you had a really unpleasant experience, you are running to Google to let that voice be heard. I've done it, unfortunately. I've had some pretty crappy service over the years at like random restaurants and stuff. And I'm like absolutely going to leave a bad review to let others know. I do leave good reviews as well, but if I'm being honest, I've probably voiced my opinion about bad experiences more than I have with good. I'm going to work on that and make sure that that's not what I continue to do. But what I'm saying is that people are more inclined to talk about the bad than the good. It's just human nature. It just is what it is. Okay. And so if you are starting your business and you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what genre you want to do, but you're just kind of doing a little bit of everything and you're charging people, and then you go and do this photo shoot and you receive this money, but you don't know what you're doing and it reflects in the photos and they're unhappy, you're setting yourself up for a possible negative review, an unpleasant situation where maybe they're like, you know what, I don't like this, I want my money back or something. And now you've done all this work, you've given them their photos and you're giving them their money back. Like, you don't want to do that. Set your pride aside, recognize where you're at. If you're in the early stages, if people don't know who you are, people don't know your editing style, if you don't have an editing style, if you don't know what genre you're doing, you're just looking to explore, to get your feet in the door, to practice, to gain that experience, to get that, those reviews, that feedback, do a couple of free photo shoots. I would say maybe anywhere between 5 to 10 is enough to kind of start figuring out what you want to do more of and less of. I knew very quickly engagements are just not my thing. I just personally am not like a huge PDA person. I'm not a very lovey-dovey person. I've been with my girlfriend for 7 years and like I love her with all my heart, but like you will never see us just like making out in public. Like it's just not my thing. And so it was really hard for me to watch strangers do that, like be so lovey-dovey in front of the camera in front of me. I'm just like, it's just not my thing. And that might sound super prude, and I know that it is, but like it's just not my thing. So I very quickly figured out that I was not a huge fan of engagements. I like family portraits, but personally it can be a little boring to me. So I'm like, like I'll do it every now and then, but it was something that I was like, I don't want to focus on this. But I did realize that I loved senior portraits, and so that is what I do now, and that's where we're at. So as far as free photo shoots go, in the beginning, to build that portfolio, to gain that practice, and to get those reviews. Now, let's say you're in the in-between stage. Now, you're not a beginner, you're not an expert yet, but you have a couple of clients now every month. Maybe you have 2 to 3 clients a month, maybe a couple more. You're now officially charging. You're not charging like the dream prices you want to, but you're also not charging like a couple $100. Maybe you're charging anywhere between $5 to maybe $1,000 or something like that, whatever. And you're a little more seasoned in the area and you know what you're doing, more or less. Okay. At that point, I do not believe that there is a need to offer free photo shoots. Once you have clients, I don't think that there's really a need for you to offer free photo shoots anymore because you have the experience, you know what you're doing, right? But there are circumstances where it might be to your benefit to offer a discounted price for a photo shoot. I'm going to give you an example that I went with. So about 2 years into me having my little side business, I'm having maybe a couple of clients a month or so. Before I even really started honing in on senior portraits, I had a sorority from one of the colleges here in town reach out to me. And this sorority wanted photos of that school's chapter. It was at Texas State. All right. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with these terms, a sorority is just a, let's say, organization of just girls, right? A fraternity would be an organization of just guys or co-ed. But for this case, it was a sorority. Each sorority has that sorority exists in different schools, and each school is called a chapter. So this chapter of this sorority at said school was needing their chapter's photos. So photos of all the girls that were in that organization. It was about 30 to 40 girls. I gave them my price, what I thought was reasonable at that time. And they very respectfully let me know, hey, we're sorry. It's just, we're a small org. This is a little bit out of our budget. We're so sorry. I went ahead and asked them what their budget was and made my price fit their budget. And let me explain why. These girls were my ideal clients. They were seniors from a university that is less than an hour away from me. It's about 30 to 40 girls, and I was going to be able to give them a great experience so that hopefully when they graduated, they were going to come back and shoot with me. So that's what I did. I gave them a budget that was within their budget. I mean, I gave them a price within their budget. I got to work with all of them. We did photos of the whole organization, and then we did a couple of headshots of every single girl. Guided them through everything, just gave them a really pleasant experience. I asked them for reviews. I ended up getting, if you scroll on my Google, you'll find like way back in like 2014 or so, you'll find a couple of reviews from them. So they, kind of boosted me up in the Google world. And several of them ended up coming back when they graduated a year or two later and booking with me. And they let me know, hey, like you actually shot with my sorority. You did our chapter photos and I love them. And here I am. So I wouldn't have been able to get my foot into that door and have that connection if I had stuck to my pricing and been like, no, like this is my pricing and I'm not budging from it and you can't afford me. So, like there is a time and there are circumstances where it's smart for you to do a discount and it will pay off in the long run. Okay. So when you're in that in-between stage, discounts, I think, are a great tool. I don't really think that there is much room for offering free photo shoots anymore. Unless it's like a crazy circumstance where it's somebody that you're just dying to work with. But in that case, like, I don't think in that in-between stage, after you're a beginner, I really don't think there's a benefit to doing free. But I do see a benefit for doing discounts. Now, after several years, once you have developed your editing style, you've developed a reputation, you have plenty of reviews, people kind of know who you are, you're established, you're like an expert at your craft, yada yada yada. I really, really don't see a benefit to you ever doing a free photo shoot. And I think at that point, yes, you're doing yourself a disservice unless you're doing it for charity. I did a free photo shoot last year for a couple of it was like an elementary school. It was like charity, totally fine. But honestly, I can't think of the last time that I did a free photo shoot, even for friends. So at that point, I don't see a benefit to free, but I still slightly see a benefit to discounted sessions. So I actually, over the summer, got reached out to by a high school senior that I was willing to give a discount to because I really wanted to work with her. The reason I really wanted to work with her was for a couple of things. Number one, she was from a high school that I had yet to work with any students from. And this school is higher income. All right. It's in a like rich part of town. It's a huge school. And I know for a fact that the seniors there go all out. And I have been wanting to get my foot in the door. And no matter how much marketing I do, I can't seem to land my stuff in front of their eyeballs. And so when I got reached out by this girl from this high school, I was like, in my head, I was like, all right, we're in, let's do this. Like, if I can just get one student there, it just takes one student with really awesome photos to share them on her social media for her friends to see them. And hopefully I can start building a little bit of traction through there. Right. And so hold on. So that's the first reason I wanted to work with her. The second reason is because in the world of senior portraits, there's a couple of photos that I've always seen people do. Like when I used to first start this, and I knew all those years ago that I wanted to eventually do them. A couple of those photos, for example, are like working with a plane. I've done that. I've gotten to work with a student who graduating from flight school. Another one was working with horses. I did that about 2 years ago. I worked with a senior who had a ranch and they had a bunch of horses, and I did that. There was another one that I had. Anyways, there's like certain photos like that I always wanted to check off, and I've done it. One of the ones that I have yet to do that I've always wanted to do is work at a cotton field. I've seen beautiful photos of people like who have farms and ranches with like these huge cotton fields, and they have like a tractor in the back and the sun is setting behind them and they're posing in front of it. Like, it's just so beautiful. But I've yet to meet anyone who has a dang farm, right? And so, because I'm in Austin, like I don't know anybody. And so this girl reached out to me from this high school that I've wanted to work in. And she let me know, hey, my parents, like the cotton fields, we're about to pick them. And I'm wondering if you can get me in within the next 2 weeks before they're picked. And I was like, yeah, I actually have some room this day. She was like, sounds great. What's your pricing? I gave her my pricing. She was like, okay, cool. Let me run it by my mom. I was like, cool. She, I guess, ran it by her mom and texted me back and said, hey, I'm sorry. My mom said it's out of our budget. So I was like, dang. And I remember I was like, man. And so I was like, well, what, out of curiosity, is your budget? I might be able to make something work. And she ended up ghosting me. She never responded, but that's okay. That's how it goes sometimes. You can't ever take it personally. It just happened. And I was really bummed out, but I was totally willing to give her a discount because I wanted to get my foot in the door into this high school and all of those kids at that high school. And I really wanted to knock off this like dream photo shoot, which is at this cotton field with the sun setting behind. She said she had a couple dresses she wanted to do. It just sounded like a dream. And so I think there will always be a time for discounts, and you eventually do hit the point where it's just not a thing for you to do free. Free photo shoots are really just in the beginning, and discounts, you can use them as a tool here and there to get your foot in the door with a certain type of, in this case, a school, or maybe there's like a venue that you want to introduce yourself to maybe be like a preferred vendor kind of thing. There are circumstances where you have the connection, which is a potential client, and you just want to make sure that you get them so that you can get your foot in that door for where they're shooting at or who they're shooting with or whatever. Okay. So as creators, as artists, we can be very, very rightfully so, very proud and like pride and just like be really respecting of our craft and really value it. And we absolutely should. But I do advise to maybe realize that there are circumstances where these things could be to your benefit and to set your pride aside. Don't take it so personally. Don't think you're degrading your own work. Don't think you're like degrading photography as a craft and career. Like, these are tools, okay? Doing a free photo shoot doesn't mean you're not getting paid in any way. You're just not getting paid with money. You're getting reviews and experience and building a portfolio and stuff like that. And then when you do discounts, you're just kind of getting your foot in the door. You're still getting paid. Maybe you're just not getting paid your full amount. And how would they know if you know what I mean? Like, only you know. You know what I mean? And so you're just you're going to have to like remember that and not be so like gung-ho about it. Like, I'm never going to give a discount. I'm never going to do this. Like, no, man, like there are times to do it and there are absolutely times not to. I cannot tell you how many people reach out to me every year during South by Southwest and ACO. It's always these super fancy influencers with tens, if not hundreds of thousands of followers and all the pretty photos and their shopping reviews and their codes for discount with partners and stuff. And they're always the ones who want free shoots in exchange of exposure. And I don't need exposure anymore. I'm good. You need me and I need your money. And so you're not getting anything for free, even though you're an influencer. Like, what? No. So you will absolutely get those people. And so, you're not going to want to work with them. So yeah. So to recap, in the very early stages of your photography business, when you're trying to explore what genre you want to, expand your portfolio and everything, do a free photo shoot. Offer a couple of free photo shoots specifically for certain genres. So you don't just cast a huge net and work with a bunch of freeloaders. Don't do that. Ask for reviews or testimonials in exchange and use them to your advantage. You can do marketing, run ads with them. You can post them on your website, post them on your Instagram. There's so much that you can do with reviews. They are marketing. You're getting marketing in exchange. And then as you gain more and more experience and go from intermediate level to expert level, you're going to not need to do that anymore unless it's for charity. But there is every now and then a time to do a discount so that you can get your foot in the door to get you to that next level. All right. So that's my opinion on when I think you should do discounted shoots or even free photo shoots. I hope that you learned something from this episode. As always, thank you so much for listening. I will see you on the next one. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Probably Editing Podcast. It would mean the world to me if you would rate this on iTunes and Spotify. If you would like to view these episodes in a video format instead, then I am also on YouTube. And as always, if you would like to stay up to date and be notified of when I upload new episodes, just hit the little bell icon and you'll be know as soon as I upload them. If you have any questions or want to hear about something specific in the next episode, send me an email at probablyeditingpodcast@gmail.com. I'll see you in the next one.